So now we're going to see how all the pillars come together, how observability kind of enables us to have scalability, and how scalability and observability together enable rapid remediation. And so the first and most obvious example of this is our organizational-wide vulnerability dashboard. We have exceptional observability that allows us to identify the vulnerabilities in the smallest components in each project. And then we have the scalability to bring it across all your different projects in your organization. And that's what you're seeing here. And so imagine we had a vulnerability like log4j, where we could search it and see exactly where, what projects and use cases it's affected. And in that way, we're able to rapidly remediate at scale at a very deep level. And we can also, if going back to our little Flask application here, download PDF reports that go into great detail around the actual vulnerabilities affecting our project. And you're seeing that here. Next, rapid remediation is not just about knowing where a vulnerability might be present and where in the organization it's present. It's also about actually doing the remediation. And our system makes it incredibly easy to remediate vulnerabilities. Here we have an old version of Flask, and we see that right now there are 2 vulnerabilities affecting this version. We can simply either choose a newer version with less vulnerabilities, with some of those vulnerabilities remediated, or we can let our system determine the best combination of versions such that there are the lowest numbers of vulnerabilities. And we're going to say updating to resolve CVE, and we'll save that change. And what you'll see here is now there's only 1 vulnerability in Flask. And well, there are always new vulnerabilities emerging. The key is to reduce the total number such that there are less attack vectors for your organization's open source. And so we've identified with great observability what the vulnerability was. We've remediated it, but now we actually have to deploy it in production. And this is where that great scalability feature of having version control really comes into its own. Because as a developer, I don't just want to push an update into prod. I want to test it. And so what I can do here is I can actually test with this specific commit on my developer or CI/CD system, and then ensure that the CI/CD for prod, if it is redeployed, is still using this older commit ID. And so I want to demonstrate, actually, imagine, I'm a developer and I'm working with the state tool on my local machine. I can actually pull the updates from the platform, and this is how we make it shareable, right? If I state pull, it says, okay, your project has been updated to the newest commit. It downloads the changes and just the changes, which is very efficient. And now, as a developer, my team can stay in sync and have the most secure version of a particular project possible. And we also have a really cool branching feature where we can actually branch and maintain separate branches of a project as well. And that you'll find here. And so I could have a development branch and a production branch. And that essentially achieves the same thing. And so that is really how observability feeds into scalability, which feeds into rapid remediation, which ultimately ends up in more security and governance for your organization